everybody. This is the brand new Ford Super Duty Tremor, and it's an exciting package. But what's maybe even more exciting than all the off-road gear is one of the brand new engines that can come under the hood. Let's go take a look at it. It's actually right over here on a stand. Now, it's not this engine right here. This is a 6.7 liter turbo diesel. It has been updated, but that's not what we're looking at. Come on, let's keep going. Now, this is a part of it. This is a brand new 10-speed automatic transmission, and it's made it to that new engine. Now let's go look at it. Guys, this right here is the brand new naturally aspirated 7.3 liter V8 from Ford, and it's gonna go under the hood of every Super Duty the brand builds. Now, I know you guys wanna know horsepower and torque. We're gonna talk to the engineer who built this engine and get all the numbers for you, so make sure you stay tuned. Joel, we're excited for this 7.3, and based on what we've seen, everyone's excited for this 7.3. So, you know, when you guys are putting together this whole engine program, how did you decide sort of where to position it and why to bring out a brand new gas V8?
Okay, well, we're the dominant power in the commercial truck business, if you just look at our total volume. So we have a wealth of data from all the commercial users about what they really need. And we decided to build an all-new gasoline engine. You know, it's been 20 years basically since we brought out a ground-up commercial gas engine.
Wow.
So we're looking around, and you know, we've got the 6.2. Would it make sense to do a derivative of the 6.2? It would have been good. Would have been as good as we could do. We came to the conclusion no.
Gotcha.
You know, so we started looking around where the competition was at. And what we realized is the needs of the commercial customers are actually different than how some of the industry's been migrating for fuel economy and emissions. The laws that govern the commercial vehicles are a bit different. And so we chose to take a step back. And what we did was we have the usage profiles for the customers go through, so we know what power they really use, we know where they want that efficiency to be at, so we solve backwards. And that's how we came to 7.3 liters.
Gotcha.
And so as we started to work through it, and we started to get to, frankly, a surprise to me and others, that the answer was really 7.3 liters. Everybody thinks bigger. Smaller is better.
Yeah,
right?
These days especially. Right?
So we went down the path of, well, wait a minute, that is the answer.
So the transmission with this new 7.3 is a 10-speed, and you might be thinking, oh, well, that's the same one out of the F-150. Well, that is not the case. Only 7% of the parts are common between F-150 and Super Duty. And right here, I have an example for you. These are input shafts. That's the input shaft off the HD. That's off the F-150. You can see longer, fatter, and stronger. So every single one of the parts in the HD transmission that takes torque has been made much stronger than on the half-ton. And you can even see right here, here's the planetary gear sets. There's F-150, there's Super Duty, and man, this thing is beefy.
The commercial truck guys, they want the engines downsped, they want extremely long life. So we went through that, and we got to a point where we realized we really weren't going to try to make power above 4,000 RPM. And so if you're not going to rev the engine to high speeds, the advantage of overhead cam really starts to disappear. But the engine's still wider due to the overhead cam. And we looked at the range of vehicles we had, and we had an opportunity to choose an engine design that could be virtually the same across a wide range of vehicles. And so just think, if you're a commercial customer and you need to get service done while you're on the road, any Ford dealer can support it. And the thing is, as you move between different vehicles, the differences in the truck engines is things like dipsticks and wiring harnesses. None of the maintenance parts. So it's very easy to service with compact design, very common.
Interesting.
And at the same time, we gave up virtually no performance below 4,000 RPM, where our truck customers really run.
So you would say that packaging and then that low torque performance, that's why you went push rod.
Yeah, we want that big torque envelope.
So one of the things that Ford is making a big deal of is durability, of course. And right here, they actually brought some parts that were tested in these new engines. So this is a crankshaft right here. It has 3,200 hours of testing on it. That is non-stop, hard testing. And essentially, it looks brand new. It pretty basically looks ready to go into a new 7.3 and keep on running. Now, the other thing is they've also made all of these parts beefier. They're just stronger material. So the old crankshaft was cast iron. This crankshaft is forged steel, and that's a serious piece of metal.
Gotcha. And the interesting thing is, as we go through it, this engine's in light configuration, actually just a little bit lighter than the 6.2.
Wow.
So all that modern analytical capability, we used to back out a little bit of weight, be more efficient. But at no point did we compromise any of the Ford Tough Truck durability. So whereas the engines like the 6.2 have a cast crank, this has a forged steel crank. Upsized bearings, piston cooling's been upsized, variable displacement oil pumps, oversized water pumps. It's just through and through a far tougher engine.
So this is the heavily revised 6.7 liter turbo diesel from Ford. Now sadly, I don't have any horsepower or torque numbers to share with you yet, but of course they're coming, so stay tuned to the channel. But I can tell you some of the big changes. First of all, we have a brand new, larger electronic turbo that has been added to this engine. We have a variable oil pump, which can actually change its pressure, so if you don't need all that pressure, it's not taking more drag off the engine than is needed. And then what's interesting here, new pistons as well. So this is the old piston right here, and you can see here with the new one just how much less material there is, and that's been made for weight savings. Now, the weight here is actually kind of the same, but this one is going to be way stronger because of course this is steel, whereas this is aluminum. Now it is the moment you're waiting for. Let's go over the power numbers. So this 7.3 in the F250 and F350 is going to make 430 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 475 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM. Based on some of our estimates here at TFL Truck, those power numbers are actually a little bit low. We thought the 7.3 was going to make more, but the fact remains that this engine still makes the most power in the segment when it comes to gas engines. So over at Chevrolet, you have the 6.6 liter gas V8, and it makes 401 horsepower, 464 pound-feet of torque. At Ram, you have the 6.4 liter Hemi V8. That engine makes 410 horsepower and 429 pound-feet. The other interesting thing here is the torque curve. So it is true that this engine delivers peak torque at 4,000 RPM, but if you look at this chart, you can also see that as low as 1,500 RPM, this engine is already making 400 pound-feet of torque. So there should be a ton of usable low-end power in this V8.
Dyno certs, which go in the big trucks, so it's 468 foot-pounds at 3,900, and then 350 horsepower at that speed.
Gotcha.
And so, because in the dyno cert, you come up to a point where you have high fuel efficiency, and then you very quickly roll it off. That's an EPA mandate.
Gotcha.
And so, one of the interesting things about this engine is officially peak powers at 3,900. It's pretty much done in the low 4,000s you would shift, but to give better engine braking to our customers that are towing, our max engine speed under braking is much higher than 4,500.
Interesting.
So the engine's designed to run relatively high braking speeds
Get the engine
to
braking.
help with downhill braking.
Very cool.
Which has been a weakness of gas engines, right?
Sure,
the
that's what
diesels
people
with
love,
their
the
exhaust brakes
diesels.
can really help. Well, we can't get to diesel level, but we were able to help with how much braking we can supply by doing that.
Cool. It sounds like the PTO is a pretty big deal now too. You've made a lot of changes to the PTO. Could you just run over those real quick?
So the PTO side, I don't know that well, but fundamentally we work with our commercial customers a lot. We also work with the upfitters, and there was a demand for increased capability. So with the 6.7, we can deliver 300 foot-pounds stationary, and then there's it has the ability to deliver torque also while the vehicle's in motion, and then the new 10-speed setup, so you can have a split shaft takeoff. So in my world, that's more for truly the extreme upfitters, right?
Sure.
They really need huge amounts of power on the vehicles going, and that gives them access to the full power capability of the vehicle.
Gotcha. And then finally, is there one thing on the engine that stands out to you as one thing that was incredibly hard to engineer, that had the most meetings, that you really kept you up at nights? What was that one thing?
Funny enough, you would think it's simple with how much technology I was willing to throw at it. It's the ring pack.
Yeah.
We wanted this ridiculous durability, and it was kind of more into, I just didn't want to see them wearing, because when you wear rings, you get into oil consumption.
Sure.
And so we went through iteration after iteration of premium materials to find out what really was the best ring pack for this engine that would give low oil consumption and give very, very long life. And for all the science we have, I mean, we use special labs that could check for particles in the exhaust stream to measure oil consumption. You still cannot just do an analytical model and say this is the right answer. It takes a lot of testing and development work, and we committed a lot of resources to make sure that ring pack was spot on. You know, so it's fundamentally really goes to the heart of the engine. We wanted to make sure there was no mistakes around anything that would relate to durability.
Cool, excellent. I think that's everything for us, Joel. Thanks so much, man. So guys, there is certainly a lot of information on these new engines, and I hope you enjoyed learning about them, but sadly there's still a lot that we don't know. We don't have pricing, we don't have fuel economy, we don't have power on those diesels, and we don't exactly have availability. Now these are 2020 trucks, so they gotta be available next year. We just don't know. Early in the year, late in the year, this fall, we'll have to wait and see, but Ford says they'll be available soon. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Go below, leave a comment, hit like, hit subscribe, and then come right back here to the channel for the latest news, views, and real world reviews. See ya.